Hello, everyone. Thank you, Joey, for being here and saying yes to Rooted in Culture. How are we doing this morning?
Doing great.
That's right. That's the attitude. So, thank you for saying yes. Let's start by hearing a little bit of your story. What brought you to the field of mental health?
Yes. Interesting enough, it was wanting to work with the deaf community.
Mhm.
I've worked with the deaf for about 15 years now in different roles, from case management, um, to vocational rehabilitation counselor, to clinical mental health counselor, and being a part of different organizations for the deaf community and hard of hearing community. And literally, had it not been because I wanted had it not been for an ASL class that I took, I wouldn't have finished undergrad. I probably wouldn't have done grad school. I wouldn't have gone on for like it was one class changed my life.
Look at you.
And so that's why.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
In what ways does your own culture, either language or life experience, show up to support your clients?
I think the sense of interesting enough that you asked this question right now, because I just talked about this 30 minutes ago. Um, I think because we come from a I can't say words, collectivistic culture.
Yeah.
To me, attachment always felt important. Connection always felt important. I think for me, growing up, my family was everything.
Mhm.
That changed over time because of dynamics, but um, they just connectedness, like the sense of importance of celebrating moments in life, graduations, birthdays, all of those events,
Mhm.
just always was important and highlighted, and that continued even in my friendships. I have one of my best friends is her daughter's going to turn 2 next month, and I was making plans to go for her birthday, and it's that kind of connection,
Yeah.
and so I think when I reflect that to the therapy space, it's the connection that brings me brings me in. It's I When I sign up for this, when I sign up to work with you,
Mm.
it's I'm in this with you, and to me it's just special. It's different than it's one thing, right? It's weird because it's a business at the same time. Like you need to do this to live,
Yeah.
right? And so it's this weird space you're in, and at the same time, um, it provides something in return of if I sign up to do this with you, I'm equally invested, and I'm bringing all of myself into this. And I think I think my upbringing gave me that for
Yeah.
sure.
I love that, especially because, like I know you and I know about your family. So I was like, yeah. So for potential clients and even colleagues who are listening to you, tell us a little bit about your family. Like, what was it about your family? What culture that you grew up with in your family that
Yeah.
brought you to attachment being so important?
Yeah. So I grew up in a Mexican American household. Interesting. Well, I grew up on the border too, so I'm a border boy. That's a weird word.
That's
Don't.
actually its own culture.
It is its own culture. Border town is its own culture to Mexico, from Texas, and so yeah, there's no place like it. Other border towns are like it, I would say.
Yeah.
But that is such a unique experience, and I miss that when I go back. It's quite nice. And I grew up in a very bilingual space where English and Spanish were so interwoven into every sentence. It was
Yeah.
just like everywhere you went, it was just everyone was speaking both. To me that there were some benefits there, and then I would say some limitations. I think part of I'm not answering your question. What was your question?
It is. They were talking about growing up in a Mexican American family, so that's part of your
Oh,
culture.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's interesting. So border towns are quite interesting.
Mhm,
In terms of, I wonder if all of them are like this. I should actually look into that. In mine in particular, it was be even though 98% I think it's of brown people
mhm,
live there, and then you have smaller percentages of other other communities. Um, Even with that high number, we were still striving to be white. We were still striving to be not Latino,
yeah,
not Latina, like literally.
yeah.
And it's so interesting because those covert messages were implicit,
Mhm,
and yet I don't know, as I reflect, I'm like, wow, maybe they were explicit this whole time. But maybe never like explicitly stated, but they were everywhere.
mhm,
Down to like how my family code switched, down to how they talk to others from work,
mhm,
and uh how we named others, like children,
mhm.
right afterwards. It seemed like it was do anything to fit in and at the same time change who you are.
Mhm.
And so I bring that up because to me that's been an important part of my own journey and my growth is reintegrating those cultural parts of self
Mhm.
that were disowned for a long time
Yeah.
because I wanted to fit in and I wanted to be more white and like even yeah, like I think about undergrad, and even though I was in another border town
Mhm.
for undergraduate from undergrad degree, and even when I went on from a master's, like it was I think when I went on to a master's, like racist comments I received, I worked so hard to try to just fit in and be more white, sound more white,
Yeah.
etc. That so much of my cultural identity got disowned and suppressed, and so that's been part of my journey is bringing that back to the forefront because I love the cultural uh, I love the cultural aspects that my family brings
Mhm.
and reminds me of, and what we get to share together when we get together. Uh, yeah, and sometimes I have to bring things in that they forget,
Yeah.
and it's just interesting.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I love that. I don't think you and I have never shared that because I grew up in a border town, but from Mexico, you were in the border town, but it was in El Paso, right?
we've
So
never talked about
I know because I'm from
that.
Juarez, which is right next to El Paso. So we grew up molding too because there was just so many. I'm not gonna say white people because most people in El Paso are not white, but let's pretend for that context. So we were like work. There was a lot of companies in Juarez that came from El Paso. There was a lot of people that from Juarez went to El Paso to work. So there was this crossing back and forth. So for me, growing up, it was this idea of striving to like dress in a certain way because it was in a border town. Go and cross and do my shopping because it was in a border town. Like everything was to El Paso. And then in El Paso, it was everything coming to Juarez. So we have in border towns, we have our own language. We have our own assimilation. We have our own thing, and we don't talk about it. So when they come to therapy with us, having that background is so easy for us to say, like, I know what you're talking about.
Exactly. Yeah. Mm.
Love this. You and I were gonna have to talk because you said like I cannot generalize. I was like, actually, that's pretty accurate.
That's so fascinating. We've never talked about that.
Uh-uh.
We must. Yeah.
So then that leads me into what are some unique strengths that you bring into the therapy space? Being, I'm going to say you're not bilingual, you're trilingual, but being a trilingual that helps your clients feel seen, safe, understood.
Hmm. I didn't realize how much self-disclosure I was doing today. Um, it's interesting. I'm making this connection now of I think I'm an only child. and there's something, well, I wish I had siblings most of my life. Although I learned people are not always friendly with their siblings.
Mm-mm,
I always wanted to be best. I always assumed siblings equaled best friends.
mm-mm.
Um,
Sorry, Alexis and Andrew. Yeah.
and so I think that the amount of attention I received as an only child and just like from grandparents, from tios, my tias, like my parents, like I think uh somehow to me that's reflected in the people that I work with, like my clients is uh, I'm so attentive to them and it's one of those I'm attentive to not just what they share but their body, right? It's like what
Yeah.
is their body communicating to me that they might not be saying with words, but it's shouting at me.
Yeah.
And so to me it's like when I'm working with people, I want them to know I see all of you.
Mhm.
And if I don't, you tell me because I want to.
Yeah.
If I'm missing something, you tell me. I had I was sharing with you before. I had a meeting, a session with a client before our call today related to just that.
Yeah.
There was something missing, and it's like I need to know that
Yeah.
because I don't want to. I don't want to miss it. I don't want to. I don't want to miss you. I want to see you. And so I think it's. I think my unique, I would say, upbringing of has somehow connected to I can actually give that for others in
Yeah.
this moment, in this time.
Yeah.
I can see they are the only people I want to attend to and just give everything to.
Ah,
Um, and I think coming from like you mentioned, uh, this trilingual world, it's having to step into many different mindsets of cultures and practices and um, all with the sense of who we are is enough and I want all of that to shine. I want all of that to have a space. I want all of that to take space.
yeah.
And so I think to me those things seem important when I'm working with people.
Yeah. I love that. So, what is something that you wish people knew about mental health with the communities that you serve? Because it's not just Latinos, hard of hearing, the deaf community, or something that you're passionate about that is shifting on how you're approaching therapy.
Yes. Ask me that again. What did you ask?
What is something that you wish people knew about mental
Oh.
health, or something that you're passionate about shifting on how it's being approached?
Hmm. 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 That's a hard question.
It is.
My gosh. Hmm. To me, I think I something to understand is depending on where you're coming from and how you view mental health and or how you view therapy.
Mhm.
This this is a space, it's a to me it's a raw space. It's a space to bring your raw self. And that's scary because who does that? Where do you do that?
Yeah.
Who lets you do that, right? Without someone putting some kind of limitation on you and or just kind of, hey, suck it up, just keep going and or, sympathy rather than empathy.
Yeah.
Um, and to me, it's if you show up in vulnerability, I will show up for you.
Mm.
It's to me, that's the most important. If you're willing to show up with in vulnerability, I will show up for you.
Mhm.
Um, your question's hard.
But I
I
love
don't
the
know.
way that you're answering, which is, a lot of the people think coming to therapy is to problem solve. There's something wrong,
Yeah,
therefore we have to problem
yeah.
solve. And what you're sharing is like, actually, no, it's a place where we get to be raw, where we get to bring all these things experiences that we tend to hide from others, and we get to not only share them with the person that we're trusting, across us, but it's also we get to play with vulnerability. We get to play with organizing what is it that I'm trying to say, what is it that I need from you.
Yeah.
So it's a place of discovery, curiosity. It's not a
Mm-hmm.
place of problem solving because you truly do not believe that there's something wrong with them as you're being so curious about them.
100%.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
it. So, what is one moment that reminds you of why the work that we do matter, that has stays with you as a trilingual therapist?
Interesting question. I think of it's interesting. I'm always taken back to this time of my career, always. And it is what propelled me to get my PhD, and it is what propelled me to do contract work at a hospital. And it was my time working at a post-acute rehabilitation center for people with brain injuries.
Hmm.
And I just recall moments with patients, we refer to them there, but clients. Uh, and this was, I would say, anytime we worked with them, it was several months after their injury, whether it was a stroke or traumatic brain injury of some kind
Hmm.
or brain injury. Um, and I'm just taken back to messages and things that I received from folks that discharged and were, back into their home and reintegrating
Hmm.
into their community, and just follow-ups I would get. And obviously, we don't expect to get these from clients. And when we terminate with them, it's like, best of luck out there.
Yeah.
And I think about many of them still to this day. It's been 10 years, and I think about so many of them. I wonder how they're doing. I'm dramatic when I say this, but someone's real. I'm like, are they alive? Are they okay? Like, but are they alive more like
Yeah.
not because not
Yeah.
because of just life.
Yeah.
Um, are they okay? How are they doing? How are they thriving? Um, and I'm just thinking back to my time there and just the felt sense of this is they showed me what was important about this work.
Yeah.
They showed me that I can show up in ways that I didn't even think I could.
Yeah.
And they showed me that there's so much more to learn that I didn't know I needed to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. That's
And I'm
funny.
still, yeah,
Yeah. So for anyone out there who is listening to you right now, which is true, most of us therapists get to do work and then we don't hear anything because you do the work, you go unless you come back because of something came up, another stressor came back. But we do wonder about you. We get to grieve you in a different way,
absolutely.
which is something that also we do not discuss because that's part of our own work as therapists.
Yeah. It's so true.
Yeah.
It's so true. It's so interesting too because it's it's one of those I need people to understand the things we hold on to are so random.
Yeah.
The memories that I hold on to that are of my clients are so random.
Yeah.
They're not mine, and I hold on to them still. I haven't worked with them in so many years, and they're still fresh in my
Oh yeah.
head.
Oh yeah.
And I I just can I don't know why I'm getting emotional about it.
Oh.
Um, it's wow, that's funny. Um, it's weird. And it's like one of those things, I teach, and so for those that don't know, like I'm a professor as well, and so uh some my students are often like, how do you remember everything? I'm like, you know what? Something when your body enters this field, enters this work and enters this training, it's like it knows it has to remember. It knows the what it's hearing is important.
Yeah.
And for me, it was like a weird thing of I remembered more of what my clients told me than what others in my personal life told me.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it's true.
And so, and they still hold it's they still stay.
Yeah.
And so for those of you listening, you all have an impact on us just as much as we may have an impact on you. And uh, that time is special and precious. And
Mhm.
I've can we curse? I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I fucking love it. Like I fucking love when people take you to spread that idea, right? When if they're going to bring vulnerability and they're going to take you into vulnerable spaces, it's like they bring that with you, and it's like you don't forget it. It
Mhm.
stays with you,
Yeah.
and they have no idea. It's many years later that they're still on my mind, that I'm still thinking of them. And so yeah,
Oh, I love
that's
that.
beautiful.
Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so I have our last question.
Oh, tell me.
Yeah, which is what unique strengths do you bring to your therapy work that they're not visible on a resume or on a professional bio? Oh, yeah.
I'm left-handed.
Close. Okay, let me come back because,
Wait, wait, I have some. I have some.
okay.
I'm an orchid grower and collector.
Hmm.
I have over 100 orchids now.
He does.
One right here. It's dying. Oh, look at some of the flowers. They're falling. But look at this. They're beautiful.
The color.
Yeah, the colors are
Yes.
so nice.
Yes.
Um, so that's a strength.
Hmm.
Uh, I will say. Um, that's not on a resume. Hmm.
Are you kidding with that? Like, do you nurture? You see
Well,
beauty where
yes,
others
I
may
mean,
not
you're right.
see it?
Oh, I can validate anything. Mm, anything.
He does.
And I'm a time optimist.
Yes. I'm
I think
completely
any,
the
I think
opposite. And when we talk, we're like,
I think everything can happen.
yeah, true.
And then realize, yeah, sometimes it can't. But I would say yeah, those seem to be.
Oh, I love this. Okay. I know I said that was the last question, but I lie because I'm
Oh, tell
listening
me.
to you and I was like, what is one question that no one has asked you and you want to share about working with multiple cultures? Your face is priceless. Because I keep thinking, right? Like I'm known for working with bilingual Latino, Latinx community, specifically with migrants. So they will ask me specific questions about global migration, but with you, and I'm like, I can ask you about being Latino. I can ask you about being first generation. I can ask you about growing orchids. I can ask you about working with the deaf community. I can ask you, like, there's so many cultures that you work with. Like you work with
Interesting.
the LGBT community. Like there's so,
You're right.
you are a gift.
Well, thank you.
You
That's
are
very sweet.
able to adjust and see possibilities because of the multitude of cultures that you adjust and you move and you work with. So I'm wondering, what is something that no one has asked you and you want them to know about you as you can adjust to different cultures?
Ah, I think maybe one of them, sorry, my allergies are terrible this time of season. Um, I'm gonna review this video and just be like, oh my God, I'm just like this whole time. Uh, um, I think well, I know what comes to mind first.
Mm-hmm.
It is people like you make very nice comments, and I will say what's hard about the work is It's weird what your brain will do with multiple languages in your head.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start there.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird.
Yeah.
It's fascinating,
Mm-hmm.
incredible. And I think because in my time, in my lived, in my, I can't say words. This is to that point of what I'm trying to make is words are sometimes hard to find. My brain, when I am, for example, when I'm in Mexico, give me day 2 or 3, I am like flowing.
Yeah.
It's flowing. I'm an English first
Mm-hmm.
speaker. I learned Spanish second. And so my brain has to
Mm-hmm.
make that shift and translate, etc. And so it takes me a second. There was a time, maybe 2 years ago, when I had clients in all 3 languages in a day.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you who are hearing this, like I mentioned, I'm a professor, and so that's my main
Mm-hmm.
work. And so clients are it's not full time, and so I used to squeeze all my clients in one day, and I used to do English, Spanish, and ASL all in a day.
Mm-hmm.
And while to me, like I think about it, I'm like, wow, that's so cool.
Yeah.
What's so hard about it that I've never been asked and also never shared maybe this explicitly. It's so hard to find words sometimes
Yeah.
because it's like my brain needs the momentum of
Yeah.
being in it
Mm-hmm.
to just feel grounded.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I'm in deaf spaces, oh, I feel so fluid in my communication.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm not, it takes me
Yeah.
I need like a second to feel. It's almost like comfortability. It's a weird insecurity around communication that I have that I still need to work on. Where I don't have if I'm in that space enough. If I'm like when I'm day 2 in Mexico, it's fluent. It's fluid. It's coming out. There's no thinking. It's just flowing.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm not, like if I'm just like if I have one Spanish speaking client in a day,
Yeah.
it I might it takes me a second. It feels like uh I have to like get myself there, you know? It's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm Yeah, so that I would say there's a benefit. It's beautiful to be multilingual.
Mm-hmm.
And I think from a therapy standpoint, that is the weirdest part is what I have mentally have to do before, during the process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that you mentioned that because I was like, I have named this out loud with my clients, which is when I go back to Mexico, it takes me about a day or two in order to adjust to the culture expectations
Mm,
because I'm female.
that's so true.
I have to remind, oh, that like, oh, that's right. This is not
Oh,
that you're
damn, you're
being
right.
racist. Is that, oh, that's right. Got it.
Mm,
And then when I come back and it's like, oh shit, hold on, give me a minute. But with language, people being curious, I'm gonna use that label instead. They will tell me it's like a switch for you. And I was like, yeah, I don't even see the switch in my brain. It just switches according to what
happens.
you speak to me, like it does. And then when I don't find the words for English, I only speak English and Spanish, a little bit of Italian, but like I can defend myself, but it's mainly English and Spanish. When I cannot find like Liliana language will come out, at least that's what my family calls it, because I will make up a word. And I was like, is that true? My clients, as soon as they start laughing, I was like, I just invented a word,
Giveaway.
huh? And they start, and I was like, yeah, I think you meant to say this. And then like we will joke about it and pick it up right away.
Mm,
So, for all of you colleagues who are out there, it is a blessing, it is a curse at the same time because we code switch, and we don't know what is happening. It's not
mhm,
just in language, but it's also on movement, on expectations, and what we can and cannot do according to the culture that we are adjusting. And there's even a language of it as well. So that was a beautiful way of sharing what happens to you and what happens to me. Or when we get together with our friends, right? Being from, you growing up in the US with parents from Mexico, me being from Mexico, having a friend from Peru, having a friend from Colombia. In our language, we can go in Spanish and then we switch to English because the dialogue is just so different between us too. So even in that, it was so beautiful the way that you share something that most people do not ask us when we're bilingual, trilingual, and that happens to us automatically.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joey, for your time, for your gifts. And for all of you who are watching this video, Joy's information is going to be below so that one, if you are looking for a therapist, you just reach out to him. But if you're looking for consultation or supervision, as he stated, he is amazing. He can do it in 3 languages. Please reach out to him.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.